Are we,
Are we ready to go? You want me to
I mean,
give it a minute?
how many minutes after are we?
4 after.
I think we can go ahead and start and we can just pick up. Are we ready? Are we going? Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
go.
So we have got a quorum, so we're gonna get started and hopefully Bill will be able to join in a little bit. I realize, oh, well then we will just pause and wait for him to walk in the room. Hello,
Yep.
welcome.
Hope that wasn't
It's a
too
lame
bad.
arm.
Hi.
It's just a lame arm.
That's serious.
It'll heal. Okay, so we were just getting ready to get started and then you walked in, so we paused. I was saying this is the entire, all of the responses that we got. We had a total of 347. We have a little bit more feedback from a group that meets here at Guilderland that I need to add in, and so I will add that in later and make sure that we have that. I'm planning on doing analysis of this. I just have not had a chance to run it. It just closed the other day, so I have not had a chance to run it through our software and make sure everything that it spits out. But this way you have everything except for the people that disclose their names. So that's why if you look at the last page, it says 68 of 75, because I removed that from the results that everybody's got, just to keep their anonymity. But we can talk about anything on here you would like to, if you want to go through it really quickly. But the positive thing is I do have the names to people that are interested in participating in focus groups, which is why they put their names on there in the first place. And we have 72 people that said they were interested, plus this other group, Michelle Correct, also said they were interested in having a focus group. And then I imagine potentially based on the conversation with labor management and things that we'll have a staff focus group or two, however we want to break that up. So we've got lots of people that are interested in doing that too. So do we want to take a minute to just look through this? Do we want to talk through things? How do we want to organize it?
A lot of info.
It's a lot.
That's
I
good to
think
go.
if we want to talk about anything, we should talk about where we see the bar graphs. And I can tell you without like pulling these graphs together, that the thing that the highest number of people said was yes, was important to them was the space. So there's 312 that said yes, and very few.
Atmosphere or like utility?
So we used, for example, the atmosphere of the building, the amount of type of seating options. And so I think they're just talking about space in general. I believe that adult collections was next. For your like, or the general collections is what we called it. If you go all the way to the back page, this is probably not surprising that the youth services, the youth collections and programs didn't get as many yeses. And if you look at the age range, that might tell you a little bit about why, just because these probably are not people that have children that are in those age groups. So like I said, I don't know if we want to look at the questions that have graphs.
Yeah, because I think there's just so many options once we go deeper than the bar graph.
Once we go deeper than the bar graph, there's way too much, and that's what I'm gonna do the analysis on, so that we know these many people said this, these many people said this, here's some outliers. So we can look at, I think it starts on page 16 where it has, well, I guess we could look at the things people liked about the space. As you'll crawl through the comments and things too, you're gonna see this pattern emerge. Quiet seating areas had the highest number, and there are quite a few comments about people desiring more quiet space or the library to be quieter. We can take of that what we want. But up there, you know, I mean, I don't think there was anything outstanding that jumped out at me. Program meeting rooms are the second highest. Children's library in the Meadow. I mean, I don't have children, but I love it. Wearable outdoor space, so there's some stuff on there. Does anybody have any other comments about that? Okay. We'll cruise through all these answer choices after this meeting. This is gonna be the evening reading.
Highlighters.
Okay.
In the,
Yeah.
quickly on question 3, number 89 though, not have the book drop off bin in the same lane as vehicles exiting. It's not his.
Oh, I don't know if they meant entering then. Oh,
They come around and try to go back out.
Oh, so that's more
A
a
direct-
commentary on people not following the parking lot directions. Yeah, I saw somebody ask for a drive-through and I'm like, that's not gonna make traffic any better. Yeah.
I will also email you all this PDF, which does show everything in color. I just was printing this on my work machine and I just wanna use all of our color ink. But I'll send you the PDF too. Page 16 is where it starts like the next of the things. And again, like I said, I'm pretty sure this is the one that had the next most responses for yes is the general collection. Fiction or nonfiction. I think nonfiction and ebooks are like pretty much tied.
See a lot of museum passes.
People love museum passes. And so because we put them in the other services, we made that decision to do that instead of in the collections. You'll see a lot of comments here. I think probably most helpful would be if we added those into the numbers from the, because we wanted to separate them from like the library of things. So, I don't know. If there's anything that caught you off guard, or you found unusual on that.
Scale back on games and gaming, that's fine.
You're also gonna find as you roll through here that in the open-ended question section, we had 2 open-ended questions at the end of each section. In the next 3 years, what would you like to see the library add to the collection and what was or add to whatever the thing is?
Well, what would you like to change?
What would you, yeah, if you could change one thing about whatever. People in general answered those questions exactly the same. So I just want to point that out because they're not necessarily saying like negative, positive. They just gave the same answer twice. So if somebody's wanted more museum passes, they would just put that on both spots. So there's not much differentiation between those 2 questions. You really just kind of have to read it more for tone. Because a lot of people did it that way. Okay, page 29 starts the next graph. So that's where you see it like jump down, and a lot more people say they don't, it's not important to them.
Probably because they're older.
And that's why I wanted to point out that a lot of our comments were older.
Educated.
And because we only had 3 people that answered that are under 20, we can probably make a safe assumption that these folks are answering on behalf of their children or grandchildren or children they care for. So it's viewed very like sort of traditional youth materials, I felt like.
And you said you are going to like put this through some.
I'm gonna
system
put
that,
it
like-
through, yeah, I tried to mess around with it, but I have to have Amanda do it for me because I don't know enough to do it. So adult programming is on 36.
More educational programs.
And there's some comments that give ideas in there or like very specific things that people are interested in.
A lot of genealogy and smear notes.
Mhm.
Oh, movie nights with popcorn.
I guess it's kind of interesting that in terms of the question 14, page 37, what kind of adult programs are your favorites? Digital literacy scored surprisingly low, but I wonder if that's because this is a digital survey, so the people
Oh,
who
could
might be
be.
more interested in that.
Although I don't remember because I hand input the paper ones and I'm pretty certain that was not a priority for any of them either.
It's your prevalence though.
The people in reading the comments, the people that are interested in the craft workshops and take and make crafting really like crafting because there were other comments. But I think a lot of this information will be useful to pass along to folks in Christina and Brianna's departments too, that comes out of this as ideas as well. And then 45 is the next section of teaching programming. I was kind of surprised the arts and crafts came above story time.
Me too.
Yeah.
I guess it's an older audience,
Yeah,
maybe. That story time would be number one.
anything else on the youth programs? The additional services probably shouldn't surprise anyone that museum passes because they get mentioned a lot are the highest. People love them. Some of these things that scored lower, people also noted in the comments. For instance, notary services. I think there were at least 2 people that noted, like, I didn't know the library offered that. So it may just be an instance where some of these things, Easy Pass, hunting or fishing licenses, like this kind of stuff, people aren't even aware of that it's a service that we're offering. ILL is also very popular.
I'm kind of astonished by
What?
that.
ILL.
Yeah.
And so I'm not sure, and I don't know there's a great way to say that. I don't know if they mean a traditional ILL, like someone is ordering it from a library in South Dakota, or if they just mean borrowing from all the other libraries in the system that comes through.
That's what I was thinking.
I think they're probably mostly thinking that we can get a book from Bethlehem.
Yeah.
But I don't want to assume.
Yeah, just based on the activity we see, I would have thought printers and photo adapters would have been the highest, so that's interesting.
I mean, it could be worth noting, because I think we had discussed like just getting our own data for things. Maybe noting like there's a disconnect between interest in this and how often it gets used. So maybe there's like a different way we approach this the next time.
But somebody did make a very kind comment, and one of the ones that I had to input about the assistance with using the computers and the printers and such, and how the librarians were great. So. And I think this comment that I just kind of stumbled on is sort of emblematic into some of this information we passed on to Caroline, that advertised the additional services. I had no idea the library offered.
Oh, I just read that one.
Yeah, so, and I think that was sort of a sentiment in a lot of what I read.
A lot of people, not a lot, I've caught a couple about the hours.
Yeah, there's,
What time do they work till though? Cause I sleep at 5, between 5 and 8.
Like questions about, I can't make programs or I can't come to the library.
There's a couple, there's some that just
That
said I
want
missed
later
it being open
hours.
until 9, or
Yeah.
I work, so. Makes it harder to come up with an earlier hour, but. I literally stood here for 2 different nights to see exactly how many people walked in between 8 and 9, and there was more people working here than people using the library, and that just doesn't seem good. But I had an interesting thought, and I don't know if this is an actual thing or how much this costs, but I just thought of it after I read the first thing about like, I would like to pick up books. You know how, or maybe it's just me, because I don't know who else eats Little Caesars. at this age, but I love it.
Hot, ready?
They have the thing, the kiosk now, where you just punch in your code and you get your thing. So like, could we in theory have that? So like, people don't physically have to be here,
Yes.
so they can pick up their books and do and grab it for something later. So then we don't have people here and it's just like a nice
Yeah.
service.
100%.
And people can't steal it because you would need a code.
So I've thought about that periodically. Actually, when I was at ALA, I stopped by Biblioteca is our vendor who does RFID and all that equipment. I stopped by their booth just to see what they had. And we
They
looked.
had something like that?
Yep.
Stop.
Yeah.
I thought I made that up.
No, they call them like book vending machines.
Yep.
Yeah.
Really?
And typically, like, sure, if we had one, we could put it outside the library and then the library would be 24 hours a day. I think if we ever wanted to go that route, we get more bang for our buck putting it at like Crossgates Mall or someplace else and expanding our reach in the community. But yeah, there is a solution for that.
Oh, nice. I was like, someone invent this because they have it for pizza, but you wouldn't want like hot books. So I don't think those are like.
Well, somebody in here did ask for spicy and smutty books. So
Yeah, they did. I remember that. We already have some of
You
those.
like what you like.
So, and then just as far as demographics to cover this, like we really, the majority of our users are one, regular library users. The
Yeah.
majority of folks are saying they're in here. Over half the people said they're in here at least once a week. The majority of our folks have a Guilderland library card, so they probably are our residents. And then the majority of our folks that responded qualified for AARP, like they're in that range. And the guy can. Well, I thought you had to be
Nope.
55, but
No.
they qualify for a senior discount then.
Yes.
So,
You can get AARP for your child if you want. You just pay the
Okay.
fee and you get the benefits, just so you know.
Mhm.
I took it personally when I started getting their emails until I read it. I was like, oh, anyone could get this, got it. Okay, set.
so like I said, I know this is like not something that we could like digest during this meeting, but you have the full report. I'll give you a PDF if you prefer to read it electronically. I just didn't know that people would come with their laptops and everything tonight, so you got to print one. And then I'll have some analysis for this before our next
Yeah.
meeting. And then the other thing that I wanted, unless other people have things they want to discuss, is how we want to conduct our focus groups and when we want to start those.
I just want to mention that considering it was a digital survey, I was impressed by the amount of older people that did fill it out. Because I think we had discussed at one point, like, what if that gets missed because of that? Why we consider the paper copies. So how many paper copies did we get?
I would have to look back. I created another link for it so I could track that. So I want to say like I maybe put in 12. So I think this other one that I have is 13. And then I think we had like 17 or 22 that came from the kiosk
Okay, that's
that had
good.
another link. And then,
So that was worth it.
yeah, I didn't track anything else, like knowing if it came from the website, Facebook. I didn't track
Oh,
any of
that's-
that.
So I was curious if people use that and how many filled out physically a survey.
Mhm.
Like I said, I haven't read all of this, so I can't tell you if there's anything like confidential that I should have removed, but if there is, don't discuss it live.
I mean, I don't like all the woke pride emphasis or literature, so I avoid the library. It's not healthy for our children, is it? It's an interesting comment. I just read.
Corey, just the total on the first page is 343, and the total on the choices for ages is 269. Is there a?
There's the skipped number, if you add that in, then they come out the same.
Okay. All right. Okay.
So yeah, I mean, it tracks response rate on every question. So we are over the acceptable response rate for the number of people that have stopped completing the survey or skipped questions. So you want that to be above, I think what the ratio is like 62%. And we did have 62% that made it over 62% that made it all the way to the end and clicked the done button. So that is what my data analyst like tells me is the appropriate amount to say that these results are viable. I know. I wish she lived here so she could come to a meeting.
So what's our plan of attack from here on?
So I mean, we'll get a little bit more, I think, when we run this through and
Yeah.
pull out the analysis. But I think next steps, and probably can happen before even the analysis is complete, is getting the focus groups ready to go. So we can talk to people and actually get a little more information. Pete and I briefly talked about, obviously, there are a lot of mentions of the word cafe in here. And even the people that are advocating for it, we don't know what they mean. Do you mean a full-scale cafe with food, or do you mean that you want a place to get coffee while you're in the library? So like talking to people face to face, I think is gonna be helpful of like sussing out that kind of information. Like, do you really hate the parking lot, or do you just not like how it's, you know what I mean? Like that kind of stuff that.
So it might be good to have us maybe all read through this and come back with things that we want more clarification on for that. Maybe. Or can we do something in the interim so it's not as long of a wait?
Yeah, I think that we can organize the focus groups. I don't know, does anyone have thoughts on focus groups? I'm just talking, so I want to stop.
Who are lining up to do the questioning? Is there somebody from the Upper Hudson that does, I thought that was Joe talked to us, he said there was some.
So I think we talked about that in one of the previous meetings. Upper Hudson can provide that as a service. Did we land on last time that it should be this group doing the focus groups? Where did we land?
Did say that
Okay.
two of us would be at each group,
Hmm.
and Upper Hudson was in the mix of do we or not.
But I now feel stronger that it should be somebody outside
I'm
doing
sorry,
it, so maybe Dr. Hudson.
I didn't hear it.
Oh, I feel strong, I reflected on it, and I feel stronger that it should be somebody outside GPL leading focus groups, so that if they can say whatever they want about the cafe parking lot, and especially if the staff are in ones, they can tell a neutral party about.
Yeah, and there's no like leading in the questioning, because you could, depending on who of us goes, have like a leaning one way or another.
And I can totally understand that. So we would not be present in that situation at all, or someone would be present but would just not be leading the discussion.
Maybe
But say not present.
So that might limit the number of focus groups you can do. I don't know how many they would be willing to do for
Yeah.
us. But find out. I am not sure who at Upper Hudson does the focus groups. I think Mary does.
Mary did. I mean, I could certainly reach out to her and see
Yeah.
what their availability is like and how many they can do. They probably have like a best practice recommendation anyway of like, when we've done this for other libraries, we've done X, you know? And I'm sure that they would need more information. So I can touch base with Upper Hudson just as like we want to do focus groups. What do you need from us? And then come back with next steps.
Yeah.
I mean, the only focus group I'm specifically passionate about is the cafe focus group. I'm not sure what other questions we need answered, but without diving into
right.
the details, we probably don't know yet.
Yeah. Mhm.
I'm sorry, I missed that part on, we're gonna have a specific focus group on the topic, is that how we're gonna?
That's what I would like to see certainly, but I'm not sure if that's a best practice or if it could just be looped in with the other focus group. Like now we're gonna ask questions about the space. And
Yeah. So typically you would do them like demographically, like you would get seniors in one group, you would get staff in one group, you would get caretakers, whether that's parents or grandparents or daycares in one, but I mean, but it could be,
I mean, I think that works because we didn't get a ton of, like, we'd really like to get, kids and younger adults in here because we didn't get a ton of feedback from them. So I think doing it demographically is a good idea.
hello.
We have names from this list of people who want to be in the focus groups, but what about other people? What are we gonna do to solicit people that are not survey people?
So when I have been a part of these in the past, like if we want a broader thing, is we would send an email to all these, we would decide what the focus groups are. Are they topically? Are they like, is this for a specific area of the demographic? we would send all of these people an invitation with a form to sign up and limit the number of people that can attend. And then if there's still plenty of open slots, and we would need to have some other open sessions that we can just advertise through GPL as like a thing that they can come to, like an event. So
We might have some email lists for some youth-oriented stuff if we needed to like
target
somehow,
them.
yeah,
Yeah.
constant contact.
Certainly for the teens, right? Because we've got tacos and
Mhm.
that outreach, yeah.
Other thoughts?
I would just think that a cross-pollinated focus group would be a good one to have, where you got a range of people, because if you just have one group of people, you can get everything that one wants. And I think, part of the benefit of a focus group is various groups hearing what other constituents from different groups want. So I would not be in favor of a cafe focus group, because you're gonna walk out of there talked into doing a cafe. One reason why you want a cafe, as opposed to, what would our ideal cafe be? And the answer on that would be, oh, we decided we're not gonna do it. So
I just think, I mean, I've got a lot of thoughts, but I don't have any real, background or any kind of experience in doing this. So I would just be inclined to see what Upper Hudson says, if they're, if they have, if they're offering that, before we kind of go too far and kind of thinking about how we want to structure focus groups, kind of get their take, if they have a standard way that they like to do it, or if there's best practice, or if they give us options. Well, some people do it like this, some people do it like that. I would be inclined to kind of wait and hear from them before just kind of throwing my own thoughts out there, which are probably not very well informed, or I don't know.
yeah, I would just hope that the demographics would be, in the focus group, would be a little bit better than this set of demographic, that's 52% older people, to them talking about stuff that, this library is geared in one part to them, but it's also in large part to others. And I just really feel that we probably need to look beyond that list, if that's weighted, heavily weighted to
Yeah.
certain demographic. So what's the strategy going to be to get more different groups involved? And
I think it would be important to see, if Caroline has any information on the demographics that use our different, like, marketing tools. So like, if Instagram is where the middle-aged people are, then we know that we can target our, I don't know if she has that information. I don't know what analytics she tracks.
For anything besides constant contact, it's gonna be like you were saying, that she's like, well, typically the user base for this platform is this
Yeah.
demographic. Facebook will skew a little bit more middle-aged, Instagram a little bit younger. We don't have a TikTok, so we can't skew that young.
Thank you for calling me young.
Maybe we need to open a Roblox or something. Reach out to people.
Joe? Oh, I don't know if this is best practice, but my first inclination is to try to match the focus groups to whatever Guilderland's demographic makeup is. And I don't know how we identify those people from their responses. Is there a way to like pinpoint, like, this person who's interested is 35 and we can get 10% of our, I don't know.
I mean, I can dig back into it, but it makes me kind of uncomfortable
Hmm.
because I said that the name and the information would remain entirely separate, like in the survey. So I can try and match them back up, but it makes me kind of uncomfortable to do it. Because it said it was private information that would not be used to connect any answers.
So we would just have an open call, say, hey, you.
I mean, so
What's
typically when
best
you,
case
typically, like I said, when I've done them, like, they would get an option, like a list of options, like not, so they're not just like picking a time that works for them, but they're also picking a group that they want to be a part of, that they're interested in. I mean, we can also break it out by the same sort of categories that we did in here. Like we have, plus add some open ones that are just open to whatever topic. Are you really invested in adult programs? Here's when the adult program focus group is.
Do we have a sense of to what extent our actual like library users skew older? I mean, is it, I mean,
I don't think so we have that information. We don't typically analyze it. We don't take ages under 18, right? We don't put birthdays in there. We do. So
Get
that's,
youth cards.
yeah, so it's something we have. It's not something we typically use.
you know, because on one hand, you know, we're, you know, supposed to serve the entire community and we, you know, our tax base and the user base and whatever. And so if there's demographics that are kind of less represented or, you know, the people that are getting less out of it, we can, you know, think about how we can better target those. But on the other hand, I wouldn't be at all surprised if, you know, no matter what we're doing, if the library is going to kind of skew toward the retiree population, the people that I know personally who are the heaviest users of the library tend to be in that, you know, retiree age category. And, you know, I think that's just, you know, part of the nature of a library and the services that we provide. You know, it doesn't mean we can't be doing things that'll target younger age groups, but I don't know if that's
Probably.
partially inevitable skew toward that group just based on our, you know, like, you know, the book collections, you know, people who have a lot more time to read.
In time to participate in a focus group.
Yeah, yeah. So, you know, I don't know, I like, you know.
Yeah, I guess depending on how many focus groups Upper Hudson can help us conduct, I might have different thoughts on what the split should be. Because if they say 3, I would say, let's do kids and or parents with kids. Like 20 to 50 and then 50 over, more or less. And then just have signups by slot and just say like, hey, we're looking for people and we need 30 people from this demographic age range and have people sign up. And then this.
And it definitely has to be limited or it will be
Well, right,
nominated by
exactly.
2 people and that's the only opinions we'll get.
So, yeah, I guess we'll have to figure out what Upper Hudson says. And then
Yeah.
also read through here to figure out what our questions are gonna even be.
Right, well, so I guess, you know, I'm wondering, so I know like, you know, one of the first step is to, you know, do whatever analytics, you know, we can do on the survey results to kind of group or categorize or, you know, get whatever, you know.
Yeah,
More-
the system's gonna spit out. like,
Yeah,
The
and-
top thing was that people were commenting, that they wanted museum passes.
Yeah,
Exceptional outliers are, you know, like
Yeah.
that's what our system will spit out.
so, you know, that'll definitely be interesting and good, you know, to see that, but then, and then, you know, we'll find out from Upper Hudson if they can give us direction on how they recommend doing the focus groups or, you know, I don't know how much they have a standard one way they like to do it, or if they have options, or if they do it all different ways, depending on what each library is looking for.
I
I
think
don't
they
know.
have a pretty standard.
wouldn't
That is
surprise
my
me. That would-
experience, is that it's pretty standard.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much input we get into what happens.
You know,
Uh,
I'm just trying to think like, are there things that are particularly productive for us to do, you know, in the short term before we hear back from Upper Hudson about what their approach or plan would be? You know, one is, you know, run this through the analytics and see what we get out of that. But beyond that, what can we do, or should we kind of just wait and see what Upper Hudson says because it's premature to do, you know, until we know what they're looking for?
Well, and I'll reach out to them first thing tomorrow, so we'll
Yeah.
pretty promptly have an answer on what they do for us. Another thing that Leach brought up that I think is important to work on is maybe, because, you know, the people who answered the survey are like, we really like thing X. And then thing Y, we're like, we know that our study rooms get used to full capacity, but it didn't come up the most. We should probably think about what actual statistics we want to look at like as we go, not as part of this process, but as we go through the planning process, what do we want to know?
Didn't we start on a list of some of those things last time?
Why do we? Did we? Michelle, I'm looking at you for help.
I mean, that might be a question, is like, we see that we are constantly out of meeting room space. I'm curious why was this a lower priority for you, and can you say why? Because we did force them to pick what are your favorite things, and even if it's something that might use, like I used meeting rooms for my daughter's tutoring, But if you're asking me on a survey, what's the most important to me, it might not be my first three things.
Right.
And that's what I would say is like, well, more than I use the meeting rooms, I am taking my kids to the kids spaces. I'm using the printer all the time, or I'm going to programs. And while it's nice to have the meeting rooms, you know, maybe if I couldn't get one, I would just figure something else out. Like the tutor would come to my house instead, and it makes no difference to me.
Right.
If I have that resource, it's nice to have, but it's not critical. So that's where we'd have clarifying questions like, these are nice to use, but is this like a make or break it for you?
Right.
Or if we obliterated every single meeting room, are you still gonna come to the library because these other things are more important? That's not a professional question, but that's winging it right now.
Questions did you have the same phrase like book clubs, senior connect, caregivers, parents, open to
So-
all?
I think that was our ideas for people to have focus groups on. I'm not gonna lie, my brain is a little on pain medication right now, so, yeah, maybe we did not discuss it, maybe I just dreamt it.
And same thing, I wonder how many of these conversations I'm just having with myself, and I come here and I'm like, yeah, you guys all were in
Yeah.
there, you know?
Um,
But I think that's something that maybe on the library side, 'cause these are all data points that we have, we just have to go and get them and then just have them available. So maybe I can start a list of things that I think are important and then we put add to it as we.
And that's what I was thinking, is we all take this and digest it and figure out what we want clarification on, because it might just all line up.
Yeah.
And we all might have the similar thoughts, so that makes the creation easier. I mean, if we're all over the place, it doesn't mean we won't come up with good questions, but it'll be a longer conversation, like, what do we actually want to find out, but. So many people wanted later hours, but didn't come, so I don't know. So that's what I would want clarified. In those later hours, are you physically coming and sitting here for the hour and that's what you want to use it for? Is it just picking up books and then we do the lockers, which funny enough, I did catch somebody wrote in here, so
Hey,
cool.
but it wasn't me. So-
It wasn't.
When it I'm just asking because of not having the knowledge. When it comes time for focus groups though, and I'm getting a little ahead of myself, can we encourage people as staff to come? Because I'm wondering who's not represented here. Because when our printers and our computers and our faxes aren't rated highly, but they're used all day long, at 7:55, someone will show up trying to do this, even though the whole system is shut down.
Yeah.
But that demographic is, I don't know if they took a survey, for lack of a better term.
But that's where I
A
think
lot of-
that like those questions would have, if you didn't have this service, like you rated it, did you rate this lower or not in your top three? If so, do you have an alternative to this? Because maybe they're like, oh, I do it at the library, but like, I guess I could print this out at work, or I can go to.
And
Others
not
are
everyone in the
upstairs.
focus group will have filled out the surveys, ideally.
Right.
So, like, they're not gonna be like, I can't tell you why that was said, because I didn't say it, you know? But
So a thing we would do in our like retrospectives is ask, like play devil's advocate. You might not have answered this, but why do you think someone would? And people usually sometimes have really good thoughts, or it might bring up an interesting conversation. So I would almost encourage the person that didn't put the complaint or whatever it is, have someone else answer and go, why do you think someone would say this? And it kind of causes people to think about that kind of stuff. I don't know.
So, okay. So if Upper Hudson is limited, which I'm certain there's a limit, but limited to a very small, like they will conduct 1, 2, 3 focus groups only. Do we want to limit our focus groups to 1 or 3, or do we want to utilize those in the way that we think would best have an outsider perspective?
I would try to use those ones for the ones that would be maybe the broadest and most difficult groups to do, and then maybe use some internal stuff for internal resources for doing other focus groups. I don't think we go wrong by using internal people to do it, but if we have the outside resource to do the more complicated and more difficult focus groups, then I think we should use them for that.
When,
Christina, the idea was yours, so what are your thoughts on?
Are we talking like if Upper Hudson's like, we'll do
Yeah.
I don't think one total is enough, so I think we'd have to, figure out what the best. Use them for the one for sure, and then anybody make it clear to them that's led by like an outside group or something, and then the other side, you have to leave them. But I don't think one total is enough.
Yeah.
yeah. And to your original point of making sure that we had an outside person, if we want to encourage people to give a very honest opinion, that might, it might be worth saying, okay, Upper Hudson, can you do the staff focus group, just to make sure that
Yeah.
we speak.
And I
Right?
do think that there's a tremendous amount of value in having Upper Hudson do
Yep.
staff ones for sure, having an outsider.
Yeah, I would say if they can only do one, do that one. If they can do 2 or 3, even better, you know?
Three seems nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Say, so.
But yeah,
Are you just emailing Chris?
well, I was gonna call and talk to Mary and then see if she wanted to boot me around a little bit and, because I'm not sure that Chris knows the answer, but yeah,
Okay.
I will call them tomorrow and get an answer.
And if it is Mary, you can tell her she can connect with me too.
Yeah.
I'm not reaching out to her because I'm on the board, but yeah.
Sure.
But yes, so that we can suss out a little bit more about how it's done.
Yeah, because I think she's the likeliest to have the answer, but if not, she'll find me the person.
Yeah. Because I believe that before it was, Tim and Mary that did them. But I don't know that Judith did, and I don't think there's anybody else there that would. So,
Sorry, I just read lemonade water fountain. I find it very funny.
that maybe was one of our 3 under 20 responses, maybe.
Well, somebody said that they want a Durr burger and
I
that's
saw that.
from Fortnite. Oh, it's a fake,
There's so much Fortnite.
it is a fake red.
In here?
Fortnite.
Oh, I do not understand Fortnite.
$19 Fortnite
That.
card.
Yeah. I don't know.
Does that mean?
Like,
Or
It says more
$19.
$19 Fortnite cards. I have no
My
idea what
son
that.
would probably know. I only know some Fortnite stuff and I don't know that one. I only know Durr Burger because I beta tested the game and they made fake uniforms for people serving us sliders. And that's the only reason I know that. But anyway.
What was the other thing that Tony?
Photo?
Yeah.
Photo card?
I did see that one. I thought, I figured you
Yeah,
guys,
yeah.
Yeah,
you guys would know what that is.
Yeah, I was wondering about that.
Toto.
So
card.
who in this room attended the long-range planning session when Upper Hudson did it?
I was there, but I'm trying to
Did
remember.
they talk about focus? Who did it? I can't even remember. I was not there.
That was the most recent training that we
Yes.
had?
Yeah. Yeah, I did take some notes during it, which
I mean, I have the slides. I was just, Tim sent me all that stuff, but
yeah.
range planning, okay. Digital. I was just trying to see if, oh, okay, wait, there is a focus group services summary.
Hey,
Note, this document describes in-person focus group sessions, virtual sessions. Oh, okay. Yeah, because this is, theirs is very, they have it laid out exactly what they're willing to do for us, so I don't. So, and they're saying only 6 to 12 people a session.
Mhm.
And their questions are, what do you consider the community's most important assets? Why are they important to you? How do you think this community is changing? What do you think this community needs going forward? What do you think is great about this library? What do you think is not great about this library? What can the library do to better serve you in the community? Is there anything else you'd like to share or suggestions you might have about the library to help the trustees plan for the future of library service? So that's like they have a very specific way in which they do this apparently. Is that information helpful to us? The answers to those 8 questions.
I think something, it'd be more helpful with building upon this because it almost sounds like the focus group is upstream from the questionnaire. Help you structure your questionnaire, but we're downstream from the questionnaire at this point. And so the question to them is can you help us with the downstream from the questionnaire type stuff instead of that?
So. Okay, sorry, I'm just like trying to glance past this.
We need a traffic light.
I mean, I saw that comment and loved that comment. We do need a traffic
Yes.
light, but the library can't put that in.
The trick is to drive around the bend.
I mean, that's how I come, but I want to be able to turn left out of here
Yes.
reasonably as well.
Yeah.
So.
Visa picture is different than passport pictures? It'd be the same, right?
But we don't do pictures here.
Oh, we don't do pictures at all? Oh, well then,
So Upper Hudson's, yeah. Pete, if you want to start the conversation,
Yeah.
I'm, like I said, just loop me in because I'm happy to talk through kind of where we got to this and how it,
Yeah,
so we can understand.
yep.
And yeah, I think this is really about whether or not we just want this general impact, like staff order. Okay, so we're gonna wait to hear back from Upper Hudson about their facilitation of focus groups. And if we need to follow their set about format. And from there, we'll make the decision on how we're moving forward with them, how many we're going to do, and how that's gonna come about. I'm gonna run this through our analysis program and bring that back. I'll give it to you as soon as I have it. I would say I'm hopeful that it's next week. If it's not next week, it'll be in 3 weeks because I am out of town for a conference the week after. So we have to hopefully next week.
do you want us to email you our thoughts in advance
On this,
on this or questions that we might want or to consider
for the analysis.
for the,
Oh, focus groups. I think we probably just need to wait to hear back about what they'll do and if they'll customize it.
that's fair. Okay.
Sure.
I mean, although I don't think it hurts to keep your own notes. So if, you know, if they will customize it, we know what that means. What else do we need to start planning?
You mind sending me the PDF of this?
Yeah, oh, yeah. I'll send it to everybody.
And then I think for the library side, just getting whatever the data is that we can kind of compare and contrast to, because I think that would be really helpful. I think IT already has some of that stuff.
I mean, we have so many data points, we just have to find them and collate them. But
Okay, yeah,
most
because
of the stuff we should already have.
like it'd be interesting to see what aligned with what came out of here and what's like so different, because like I said, I think we need to clarify, like, these things get used all the time, but if you prioritize it, well, why?
Right.
Yeah, no, that's definitely very interesting. If we have, services that we know, or, like the study rooms, like the printers, or, the things that are used at a, you know, high level and they're not reflected the same way in the survey, that's interesting. to-
Yeah.
to help.
Because maybe there's things that people find like, I only can get this here, and things where it's like, oh, I think that the library
Yeah.
would do this, but if it wasn't there, I'd just go do this somewhere else and it's fine, you know?
So I'll have an answer, unless everyone's on vacation, I'll have an answer tomorrow about Upper Hudson, I'm sure.
Chris is not on vacation, so yesterday.
I was gonna say, you better not have vacation already. You just got here.
So, we do have our next meeting set, like, are we going back to the traditional time in August? Does anybody?
Have a posting for this room for
The fifth?
fifth.
Okay. Okay, so that's our norm. This week it was off, but next month it'll be back to normal, so the first Tuesday, 5:30.
You'll
Okay.
miss me on that one, I'll be,
Are you going away for a whole month?
no, not this time,
Oh.
2 weeks, but that's not 2 weeks.
Okay. So hopefully we can get these two things set in stone, and then we're not gonna conduct any business by email, but we can discuss how to proceed through email, you know. We want to get more information from Upper Hudson, what that looks like, and brainstorm.
Yep.
So,
Perfect.
okay, yeah, no, I'll give you the PDF. That way, if there's something in particular you're interested in looking for, you can do a Control F and find where it's mentioned all over in the survey. I have definitely done a couple of things. I will say, just in quickly glancing at the names of the focus group volunteers, I know some of these people, so I know that they're not all 65 plus, so. Just from around town. So that's promising. Okay. Anything else? I think I've reached my capacity, so you all can continue. But I
Need any help with anything?
no, yeah, but I appreciate it. Okay, we're adjourning then.